Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Remedial Rewatch Community 101. It's episode 2. I'm here with my dear friends, Randy Elaine. Randy, how are you tonight, sir?
So good, Kris. Always a joy to watch somebody else introduce the show. I'm still loving it. The nuance is not lost or gone.
We're getting used to it, buddy. We're getting used to it. So glad to be here with you. And joining us also is our third co-host, new to the Media.lit family, Mr. Tyler McCarthy. How are you tonight, sir?
Great. How's it going, guys? I'm excited to talk about this next batch of episodes.
Yeah, buddy. We got a good set.
Yep. The real, defining community episodes. We've officially come into our own with this show.
We'll get into it. I can't believe how many things I now get about the culture of the show in this batch of episodes. So we'll get into it.
Yeah, you're initiated into some of the most important moments at this point, Kris. And I just got to say, in honor of both Kris and Tyler, I've been getting so much positive feedback from folks on our first episode. It's been so exciting to be chatting with all of you. Several of our friends and some new folks have told me they've been enjoying revisiting the show.
So
yeah, thanks to everyone who's reached out after episode 1 and said really nice things. That's been really encouraging.
I'm grateful to have joined this community.
Hey!
For the folks listening at home, tonight it is episode 2, and if you're following the rhythms of this pod, you know we're doing a big chunk of episodes. Tonight we are finishing the back half of season 1. We've got episodes 13 to 25 to discuss, and I'm excited to dig into it. Randy, would you mind summarizing said episodes for the folks at home?
Yep, I've got my cheat sheet right here, Kris. Here's a brief overview of what we covered in this batch of episodes. The Cupid being is here, and love is in the air at Greendale Community College. Jeff finds himself trapped in a love polygon, grappling with his past, his future, and the power of the moment. Annie moves on from Troy. Abed models pure, unselfish love in a bromance for the ages. And even Pierce channels his inner Casanova to rig the Spanish final in the study group's favor. The back half of Community Season 1.
Beautiful.
Well done.
Thank you.
Very, very impressive. It was nice to follow along the beats of the ongoing Valentine's and love metaphor. Impressed the way you carried that through the whole back half of the season. Very nice. Very nice.
That's why they pay me the big bucks at the high school, Kris.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. I was impressed you did it all without mentioning that they all shot each other with paintball guns.
I figured we'd find a way to load the paintballs in and fire our shots on that episode.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Get that
With so many miles to go before we get there. First, before we get into the nuts and bolts of what we've got going on with this amazing batch of episodes that closes out season 1, I want to hear your guys' thoughts and any stories you might have from seeing these episodes for the first time. Randy, take us back to the horrible, horrible pandemic where you were chomping through Community for the very first time.
Listen, I've got so many bits I want to talk about. I think when the dust settles on this podcast and we're looking back for the best stretch of episodes, this stretch has a solid shot at taking the title. There's so much good stuff happening here. But just in terms of my sort of nostalgic experience of watching, going back to the pandemic, I'd say one thing that jumped out to me, especially on this rewatch, was I believe it's in Romantic Expressionism. Senor Chang scored the invite to make fun of Kick Puncher.
Yes.
And the reason he scored the invite is because he and Abed are Netflix friends, a now defunct service. I have to admit, I never used that particular Netflix feature. However, those days of ordering those discs by mail, fun fact, a buddy of mine kept his disc service going until it was finally discontinued only a few years ago. I assumed it had been long discontinued, but it was only somewhere within the last 5 years that they actually fully put the kibosh on it. There were a few holdouts. I believe he said at the end they were starting to tell him to just keep the DVDs.
Just promise us you'll recycle them when you too want to get rid of your DVD collection.
Absolutely. And also, this was a multi-layered moment of flashback, which was the first time I watched. I know one thing I mentioned previously was I love the needle drops on this show. They're from like such a key time in my life. And the first time I watched Abed tap dance to Merry Happy by Kate Nash, something just awakened inside of me. I hope this does awaken something inside of me. And it did. It's such a great track to see it represented in such a great show and in such a pure moment of joyful expression from Abed is great. And that track just slaps every time. When I watch this episode again in another 5 or 10 years, I know it's going to bring me that same just like adrenaline shot of pure joy. So those are my big nostalgic moments.
And shout out to Danny Pudi, who I don't know if they utilize his dancing ability much more throughout the series, but the guy can move. I believe he's also like a pretty gifted, like, forgive me for not knowing the right term, but like Polish dancing, because he is like, I think part Polish. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw him on Conan talking about that.
They definitely dropped that line in this batch of episodes.
Yeah. This has one of my favorite lines that I think was also inspired by his heritage, but we'll get to it when we get to it. But for me, when it comes to watching these episodes back in the day, back in 2009, I talked about it last episode. I was getting together with my college friends, but we were not like university college friends. We were doing the commuter campus thing. So we were getting together every Thursday night watching Community, 30 Rock, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That was the Thursday night lineup. But I'll be honest, I love those other shows, but we were coming for Community. And we can talk about it a little more. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I do remember distinctly thinking, because this was the post like mid-season break. You know what I mean? Like we all had Christmas, we all had some time off from Community. Then we came back and we get the Jack Black episode. And I do remember distinctly thinking at the time, like, this is not the same show as the pilot. And then asking myself, do I still like it? And it turns out, hell yeah. But that was this is sort of like a bit of like a Rubicon, where it's like you cross it and it's like there's no going back. Like this is the wackiness of Community that we're going for. The grounded Sharks, Pencils, and Ben Affleck show that we started with is not gone, but it's not necessarily what we're pushing, what's marching forward here.
Yeah, no sooner do you accept Jack Black than our guy Owen Wilson graces the screen.
I think you're muted, Kris.
All I wanted to say was that was absolutely unbelievable.
Right?
That let me know I wasn't sure what else I could expect from this show.
Mm-hmm.
We're rolling out the big cameos now. All right, we're locked in.
Already, yeah.
Already.
Well, do we all know why Jack Black is an easy cameo for this show?
Talk to me, Goose.
So Dan Harmon, the creator, and Rob Schraub, who did a lot of other things, including Scud the Disposable Assassin, if you know, you know. They are famous for teaming up with Ben Stiller very early on in their career for the pilot Heat Vision and Jack. And at the time, it was going to be like the most expensive pilot. And it starred Jack Black as, I believe, an astronaut who gets super intelligence and his talking motorcycle.
I've seen
and it was just going to be this wacky, weird pilot that they made. And it didn't get picked up, but it was super expensive. So it made headlines. And it was like their great failure, but it got them a lot of attention, which got them a lot of work. And we'll definitely talk about this more when we talk about the Harmontown episode and all of that. But I didn't know at the time. So just as a Community fan, after this hiatus, I watched Jack Black come on screen and I was like, I think this show's getting a little traction. And it meant a lot.
Super, super cool. I have seen...
Kris, I was going to say, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like, yeah, I'm always fascinated to hear you talk about this because you just watched it for the first time. And I'm dying to know how you thought of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, I guess, to hear you guys say, like to hear you, Randy, say that maybe this batch of episodes has your favorite or some of your favorites all time. Maybe this batch of episodes is the batch of episodes overall, because that's how I experienced it. Like every episode was a further escalation of the skill set of every person involved. I think I was messaging you, Randy, separately. A big part of my experience with this batch was saying, oh yeah, the Avengers guys worked on this show. Like I'm watching some of these like action set pieces on this show, even something as silly and simple as a huge sailboat passing by the classroom windows in the parking lot outside. Like that
Mhm.
rescue moment for Pierce was excellent action. I'm on the edge of my seat. It was wonderfully shot. The camera's moving in really interesting ways. So yeah, the Anthony and Joe Russo of it all really stood out to me in this watch. And then to your point, the legitimacy of seeing somebody like Jack Black being so Jack Black.
Yeah.
I think back at this time, maybe he wasn't like 2010, even so well defined yet. Like today, he's gone, I think, almost full walk-in, where like most of the time Jack Black is playing like Jack Black, right? Like he's in the movie and whatever character he's in because you want that character to be like Jack Black. He had this character already so well developed back in 2010. The musicality, the weirdness, the singing what he says, the physicality. He's so distinctly Jack Black. Such a unique flavor. Great to see it mixed in.
I love that girth to high kick ratio.
It's phenomenal. There's a level of athleticism this man enjoys that I only dream of.
Yeah.
Like Jack Black was already pretty big, but you could tell he did still have somewhere to go because he's explaining himself to the group via Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yeah.
Like that's like the the in for the uninitiated at home. Well, if you know Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Fun fact, I did work at the mall where Paul Blart was filmed, only just after it had wrapped filming, but I did. That was my mall growing up, the Burlington Mall in Massachusetts.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
For the kids out there was a brief time in 2010 where if you needed to reach for an example of just like a wild, how could this possibly get made movie, you reached for Paul Blart Mall Cop.
There you go.
Further, for the young people listening at home, there was a thing we had in America called malls once upon a time.
Yeah.
Large indoor shopping establishments. Getting Orange Julius. One thing I'll say, though, about the Jack Black cameo, and it's not an insult to Jack Black at all. I just praised him. He's phenomenal and wonderful.
Yeah.
But I remember watching the episode and enjoying it and also having anxiety the entire time. Until it was like, for sure, this is a one-time prank. Because I'm like disconnected from the time, right? So I can't remember exactly how big Jack Black was back then. Like there was a part of me that was like, oh my God, did he join this show for an arc, right? Like how long is he going to be around? There was no version. Like I didn't want this group. I didn't want this show to have to include that moving forward.
Yeah.
Like,
agreed.
It was disruptive to what I loved about the show, the core dynamic of our characters. And I was already so attached to that after 12 episodes that even though Jack Black is phenomenal and a performer that I love, there was no world where I wanted him to stick around.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful when it was a one and done. So yeah, this batch of episodes was certainly an exercise in furthering my love for the show and falling even more deeply for each and every character, except for fucking Pierce. Actually, fuck Pierce.
Truly.
And I'll say this too, Pierce has his best episodes in this batch too. Like this is the height of good Pierce.
If this isn't some of the worst stuff he says, I'm not prepared for where we go from here.
You better buckle up, man. He gets so villainous.
Jeff. Rain Man.
They
Big
at
boobs,
least
medium boobs, black boobs. That's terrible. It's
deeply
terrible.
and truly.
Yeah.
They really have fun having fun with it when Chevy leaves the show, but I'll save that chat for another day.
Cool.
And it does seem like it's because a lot of the Pierce stuff, it's very good, but it's also like apparently Chevy just like demanding that some of his riffs get in there, and then them kind of writing him as like, okay, like I guess Pierce is going to be a little like Chevy in that he's mild, he thinks racism is funny and things like that, and so this is like the start of where you're seeing the lines between Pierce and Chevy kind of blur a little bit, both creatively and realistically.
I'm sure the lines also blur then, therefore, for his fellow actors and their characters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I guess now we can move on to our next segment. That I'm looking now at our outline that Randy's supposed to introduce, but I'm cowboying this podcast.
Do it, man.
And just jumping into our general thoughts about the bat. And we alluded to it a little. And right out of the gate, we start with what we were saying, the Jack Black cameo. And this episode was challenging for me. And I think, Kris, you hit the nail on the head. Why? I didn't want, realistically, in a grounded show that Community has kind of been up until now a grounded show with a lot of heart and a lot of comedy, the presence of Buddy would endure. You know what I mean? It would endure. And then we start doing very weird format breaking things that, like, up until that point, my like little college creative mind was like, there are rules to storytelling and shows and things like that. And it's strange to have flashbacks and then digitally insert someone who wasn't there into them. It's strange to have this guy just join the study group and like force his way in and then kind of pull at their heartstrings, kind of win them over. And like Kris was saying, like, I'm filled with anxiety because are we adding a new character in the middle of the season? And is it going to be Jack Black, who is very famous and things like that? So it was challenging me throughout this whole thing because it's also getting like a little more wacky because he is an insane person. And then to end the episode with like Owen Wilson and Starburns being like, we're not even following the coolest group at Greendale, like with our show. Like this is their second tier. Their buddy's safety group. And you, the viewer, are stuck with them, actually. Like, that's such a good joke. That's such a good way to do it. And I remember watching the show being like, are they breaking form? Like, are they getting wild? Are they getting wacky? Are they like losing the thread? And then kind of being like, no, they're doing something I've never seen before.
In a batch of episodes that was all about romance, they're our safe date.
Yep.
Well said. They are indeed our safe date. I love
Absolutely.
that. In this batch of episodes, just a small silly gag, but I just love the ongoing, the dean. What an absurd character. And I really love his commitment to the diversity and inclusion at Greendale. Like the Valentine's Day person, Valentine's Day being.
The Cupid being.
The Cupid being.
Just a perfect extension of like the school mascot, the human being. It's tremendous stuff. And then to have him going around actually assaulting people all episode was wonderful. Really.
He's got arrows now. That's safe.
That's safe.
And warning, he's like a little high from his mask. So watch out.
That's one of my favorite jokes, is learning that the magic marker, like the fumes, will always make the human being high.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to hit the fast forward button because we are just, we're helping each other react to this thing. We're in our favorite bits moment. One of my favorite bits of the entire series, which is one of the times I've gone back to just watch for my own entertainment extra times, is the moment when Abed Don Draper's Annie, the seduction scene. It is not only hilarious, but the performance from Danny Pudi and Alison Brie is phenomenal. The chemistry is palpable.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel strange that she is more than ready to go in for that kiss by the end of it. And even a few moments later when she giggles and says, I liked it.
Yes, that's a great read
she's
from
still
her.
in. Yeah,
It's such an incredible moment. And also like such a preview of where that storyline is going to end, with Abed articulating that he has his own confidence when it comes to romantic entanglements.
Yeah, I also liked it was fun to not have to worry about Abed when it comes to like a social interaction or something like that. Like Abed is fine romantically. Like he's confident in himself. He's used to women approaching him. He's not he's not like a easy like high school nerd trope who's like never had a girlfriend or anything like that. Abed's got game.
Yeah. When are the others in the study group going to realize that they're streets behind? Like this guy.
Welcome, Kris.
Yes,
Yay.
indeed.
Abed has got life on lock.
Yeah. That must have been so hard for you guys. You really needed this. You really needed to believe you could help me.
I also love that when he's hitting on Annie, first of all, yes, it's excellent. And but second of all, he's got the little like tin of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, were you expecting this to happen?
I think he's just been on a Mad Men binge and he's been trying it on for size.
I want to firmly believe that he, like, maybe not wearing a utility belt, but he's always got a certain number of go-to props should he need to quickly act out something iconic from TV or film. I think he's.
I love to believe that too. Yeah. That's super fun. I also, speaking of the dean, I was hoping, but I guess I forgot the dean like really becomes a character, but I guess he really does take a bit of a back seat in the first season. He's like a good supporting character in this, but he's really about to come into his own. But he did have one of my favorite reads of the entire like batch, which is when Annie is grilling him about sending the text message only to Black students.
Oh yeah.
And she's like saying, and she says like, and when I quote you, would you prefer imbecile or incompetent? And he just immediately goes, well, I'd prefer incompetent, but if we have to, like, he answers the question.
Not to derail us, but does anyone remember the first time that they saw Dean Pelton on screen? Because I do. Not as the dean, though.
Oh, no. What was yours?
The Friends finale.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yes. Phoebe is trying to get Rachel to get off of the plane, and she makes up a story that the plane is not safe. There's something wrong with the left phalange. And our very own Dean Pelton overhears this and ultimately leads to everyone evacuating the plane. This plane doesn't even have a phalange.
Yeah, he like freaks out. I forgot about that. He's also, he plays like a recurring guest character on That 70s Show as like Fez's big rival at the mall too.
Oh,
like,
wow.
He's been around. And I believe like during the second season of Community or something, he got his Oscar nomination for writing. Like Jim Rash is super talented.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I thought I was seeing him in something else. It's funny that Friends is where you first saw him because I was watching one of my other comfort shows, How I Met Your Mother. Because I'm traveling. That's a theme of this podcast. I'm coming to you live from the illustrious Intercontinental Hotel in Chicago. I'm always traveling when we record this for some reason, so I'm traveling away from my family.
For those not watching the video one, Kris is wearing like the most luxurious hotel bathrobe right now.
Yeah.
And I respect the hell out of your comfort game.
You know, I really just wanted to I admire Jeff Winger so much for going full nude for pool. I figured I could at least wear a robe for the
Yeah, I've got nothing against full range of motion and optimal comfort. So I support this decision.
So good. So anywho, I was watching How I Met Your Mother, my comfort show while I'm traveling. And in the first season, there's like a New Year's Eve episode where they think they meet Moby. It's not Moby. In fact, the guy is credited as not Moby. And for a second, I was like, is that the dean? It's not the dean. He just is another like bald glasses wearing.
I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, Dean is great stuff. I'm so shocked to hear that. Well, I guess I'm maybe not shocked as the show continues to evolve, but he already feels so perfectly placed in his role as the sort of like background, jumps in sometimes, plays a significant role in the ongoing plot. I'm excited to see him come forward a little bit more and to watch him participate with the group a little bit more. That's cool.
Yeah, he's great. I think they realize how talented he is and just gave him a lot more to do as the show goes on.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as we keep going through our gags here, I got to ask you guys, I had something else that I feel the show balanced perfectly. It was another moment of anxiety for me. In my notes, it just says, not Annie and Vaughn. When they didn't end the Valentine's Day episode broken up, and I realized like that's going to be her boyfriend for the rest of this, for however, I was devastated. Devastated. Fortunately, they don't give us an ounce more Vaughn. It's not as if they become boyfriend and girlfriend and therefore he appears more often in the show. It changes nothing about how frequently we see Vaughn, which was like perfectly calculated by the creators. We still get him like just enough.
Yeah, like you almost forget when they're kissing again at the beginning of the finale episode.
Yeah, it was a little bit earlier than that, but it is like several episodes later. I was like, oh, I guess they are just still dating. We haven't talked about that at all, but that's just a reality. So it remains a gag, and it should.
Yeah, you don't ship Mountain Flower and Hacky Sack.
But it also lets Annie like sort of grow as a character. Like she's dating now. She's kind of dating an older guy. She's experimenting with that. And so you do have them doing the college beats, like things like when you find out Abed's living in the dorms and that kind of thing. Like, it doesn't come up much, but like, Abed doesn't live at home anymore. That's important to like who he is and what he's got going on. It's these little beats, and they allow it to happen off camera. The way they really run everything through the prism of that study room. Is
and like Annie has to assert herself to fight for that relationship, which is so important for her as well. That little parents of the study group act is not holding up. Britta, you are not my mom. She would never wear boots that high.
I love that whole scene because it is, like you were saying, Kris, like at this point, like Annie dating Vaughn, you are kind of like, boo.
Yeah.
Because you know Annie and you like Annie and you've seen her have chemistry with like Jeff, but you might not want that either. And I love that they had that episode that really straight up tackled the sexual dynamics of this group and the fact that they are all over the road in terms of age, intelligence, experience, like that kind of thing. And they even had that moment where they all kind of look at each other and you know that they're having a thought of like them as a sexual prospect. And Abed's just there like raising his eyebrows at everyone. It was such a
wink,
such a weirdly like funny, but also like, let's lay all of our cards on the table, like both in a meta way and in reality. Like, I loved that whole scene. I'm trying to think. It had like a really good gag from it. Oh, when they talk about not Pierce, Troy and Abed having a strange relationship, and the two of them both immediately go, "They're just jealous. They're just jealous." They both comfort each other.
Yeah, I think they go into like their special handshake, but in that moment, it's at a pace where it just kind of feels like holding hands in a warm way. Yeah.
I think that's so funny. Yeah, there was a lot of like, this whole batch, like you said, Randy, is all about romance and dating and exploring all of that within the group. There's so much about that, but I'm curious what you guys thought of Professor... I had her name a second ago.
Slater.
Slater, thank you, Professor Slater.
I don't know how to feel about her as I end the season. I really don't. Like, I'd never expected to find ourselves, like, I have a note here from the Valentine's Day episode where we had like a great little sequence with Jeff and Britta where I was like, oh, the shippers are going to be thrilled. Like, that will they, won't they is still alive and well. We kind of thought coming out of the first 12 that maybe that was already fizzling. We determined there was no chemistry there, but alive and well. I never expected it to become a competitive thing by the season finale, like an outright competition between two women for Jeff Winger's affection. As a character, I didn't understand her in this context until Jeff summarized it for Annie at the end.
Yeah.
She shows me who I could be. She pushes me to be somebody better. I didn't experience her as that for Jeff. If anything, I felt like she was like slumming it with Jeff's character, and it was enabling him to just remain his same old self, like pursue the hottest woman he possibly can. Britta's not an option. And I didn't see any growth happening for the character through her, so I didn't find much value beyond the gags, I suppose.
Yeah, I saw a bit of a conundrum there myself, Kris, because you're right. He suggests that Slater is this path forward towards something more mature. I think in his mind, it's because he like finally accepted a boyfriend, girlfriend label, and that was such a big step for him. But yeah, it's ironic. She is the exact person that the Jeff Winger, who was still a lawyer, should be dating. They're similarly shallow. They're similarly vain. They are similarly looking for this sort of just like outside affirmation that they are the best. And Britta represents this more vulnerable side of him. And then, of course, we get the surprise kiss with Annie, which I don't feel prepared to unpack at this time. But feel free to jump in. I was genuinely shocked the first time I watched the series when that happened.
Same. Kris, your mouth is a little agape right now. We'll throw it to you because you experienced it for the first time. Did you see it coming, or what were your thoughts?
My notes read Jeff and Annie as this safe space for each other where they can just drop bullshit pretenses and just talk. I love that. Well, I took that note before they kissed, so so no, I didn't see it coming. I was experiencing that moment. I was like, wow, I love where these two have come as friends, that like they've experienced enough together. They've gone to that edge. She's totally herself with him. He's the only person she was honest with about leaving. He's, commiserating with her about this thing he's got going on. I sensed that a kiss might be coming, but my brain was telling me that's not what you're sensing. It's that they have this really cool, safe friendship, that there is no, then they kissed. And I was shocked that Annie initiated it so much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Annie,
upon rewatch, I noticed that too.
she really leans in. Jeff meets her. They both like have the look in their face, but she's the first one to like, yeah, I'm gonna kiss you right now, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't ready. Tyler, how did that hit you the first time?
Yeah, the first time, look, I still can't get over, if you listen to Not Couple Goals, you'll know we're obsessed with like age gaps in actors and characters and things like that. And yeah, I still can't get over that she's like 18 and he's in his 30s. So that's like, that's a lot. You know, I don't think we need to sit and unpack that. But also, like you were saying, Kris, I'm so glad you clocked that too. I loved the conversation they were having because it did feel like they were finding a safe space in each other, that they were sort of establishing their dynamic. And I loved in that moment too that Annie was like, you know, she was always a precocious like kid. She's smarter than maybe everyone else in the study group combined. And you're seeing her just sort of speak frankly as an adult. And it's like, oh, wow, we're really seeing Annie growing up. Up, too much, split the difference. Like, you know, it was
a little young. We try not to objectify her.
Yes, those are Jeff's words. Annie's still a little young. We try not to sexualize her. And then a couple episodes, 12 episodes later, he's making out with her outside the dance.
Not to mention a monkey that's been named Annie's boobs.
Yes.
It's his Twitter. He can do what he wants with it.
That is some of the brilliance of the show, right? Where they can balance that, where they can say like, this character's a little young. We try not to sexualize her. And then episodes later, we can have Troy naming his monkey Annie's boobs, and let it just be a gag the whole episode.
I wonder what the other options were.
We'll never know.
We will never ever know.
But yeah, that kiss and like the relationship of Jeff and Annie going forward is like, I feel like, not to spoil anything for you, Kris, they do sort of find that pace of Jeff and Annie sort of having that degree of honesty with each other because of this kiss, but also they spend a lot of time like undoing the kiss or making it palatable to the audience because, like, you know, spoiler alert, the network TV show does not allow the 18-year-old and the 30-something-year-old to have any kind of real meaningful sexual relationship.
Yeah. I was just glad we didn't have a moment during that. Like, we didn't have to end the finale with either of the other two women witnessing the moment.
Yeah.
It's just like not the drama I needed to end the season on.
I'll admit the fight for Jeff was not like the best look for either of those women, but like I actually, much like my fellow Dead Poet Society lover, Professor Whitman, you know, I am a little bit of a Jeff and Britta shipper. I actually do kind of feel the chemistry, and I love that she's on her own little arc of being a little bit more honest with herself, like being able to acknowledge some of just her more honest feelings, that she's not this, you know, she's not made of stone. She's not emotionally cool with everything. She's got these vulnerabilities. And I love that she was willing to share some of those with Jeff. Her I love you comes under the wrong circumstances in this competitive mode for sure. But to watch them open up, I mean, Kris hinted at it earlier, that moment where she shows up to the Valentine's dance to gain back the power and the relationship by terrifying Jeff with his drunk dial, but also there to support his relationship, to protect it. It's a really beautiful moment. And like, you know, there that it's never going to go the distance with Professor Slater.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot last episode about how there's not much chemistry between Jeff and Britta. And I think what we learned in this batch of episodes is maybe there's not romantic chemistry there, but there is definitely some sexual chemistry there, which really comes alive in the study room during Modern Warfare.
Totally. I was going to say that. I love the way the show calls
what
it.
Table?
What table? Table? I love the way it's Abed, right? He's like, yeah, your sexual tension without any chemistry, it's killing us. Like, you know, that came from notes, that came from feedback, that is absolutely live. We're making a show, we're midway through the season, and this is a thing that we have understood about our cast, right?
Yeah.
And then they work to subvert that. They're like, okay, we're going to say that, we're going to acknowledge that we have heard that, and then we're going to see if we can prove that wrong a little bit. By the time you're in Modern Warfare, it's absolutely steamy.
Yes.
It's like you believe they will, you want them to, it's everything you want out of an on-screen couple at that point. So you definitely come full circle by the time you get to the last episode, where I was shocked as anybody that she's professing her love, and I don't think that's really how she feels. But I was not so shocked to find that their chemistry had grown so much. Show's really well written.
Yeah, because it's such a I think a real nuance we can all relate to, of like either knowing people or having with someone like a physical connection, and then when it comes time to be like, so like, do you want to get dinner? And it's like that's not going to work. That's not going to go great.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to move in together? Do you want to have a relationship? Do you want to be monogamous? And it's like, that's not what we have, but I understand why we're going from here to there and why we both think it's necessary. And I think, Abed just straight up calling it out of like, your sexual tension without chemistry is killing us.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, really, really good. Any other quotes, or we've done mostly gags. Any emotional beats you guys want to share from this batch of episodes?
I did. It's not an emotional gag, but it's yet another gag. But I did want to call it out because it's such a great read from Donald Glover, where he says, I think he's talking to Britta, and he just says, like, you can't make me feel bad. You're not Shirley, and Shirley is not my mom. Like, just that gets me every time. I really like that joke.
Yeah.
As far as emotional beats, one of the things I was just sort of kicking around, it's not really an emotional beat, but it's something I find fascinating in hearing like Dan Harmon talk. There was one episode of his podcast where he talks about the writing concept of a Monopoly Man that he and his writing partner sort of came up with. And it's when you have jokes that, because the show, specifically from this batch of episodes, got a reputation as being like the meta show, the show that winks at itself so perfectly and that kind of thing. And when you have these hilarious moments like Abed straight up calling out their chemistry, that, Kris, you're right, probably was from a lot of like test screenings, a lot of feedback and things like that from the audience after like 12 solid episodes. It'd be very easy to write for that in kind of a hack way. And the idea of a Monopoly Man, and this is according to Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub, is from the movie Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where the guy, a man walks into a ballroom dressed in a top hat, a monocle, he's bald with a white eye, and the joke that Ace Ventura delivers is, oh, you must be the Monopoly Man. And like, it's a funny joke when we were kids, but they, again, this is me quoting them, are like, that's kind of hack. Like, you can't write a character to look like a Monopoly Man, and then the joke is, hey, look, the Monopoly Man. So I think...
Yeah, you need nuance. You need star-shaped sideburns.
Exactly.
They're Starburns, right?
But then you get his name is Starburns, and then you deliver that joke, and then like a couple episodes later, he's like, but there's a person behind these. Like, they start to humanize him, and that's hilarious.
No, there's a character there. Like, when Jeff first proposes, they get him fired from the fry cook job. They're all like, he probably really needs this income.
Yep. That actor, by the way, is Dino Stamatopoulos, and he's a very, he's not normally on camera. He's a great comedy writer. I think he was on like the Dana Carvey show and did a lot of like really interesting stuff back in the day.
Wasn't he in an iconic music video? Don't I recognize him in his sideburns from something?
Possibly. I don't know. He doesn't have the Starburns in real life, I don't think.
I realize this isn't a sports podcast, but Kris, I kind of want to try to set you up for an alley-oop. And I was just curious, in terms of emotional moments, did they hit you with the Good Will Hunting vibes?
Dude.
As my favorite Bostonian?
It was beautiful. I loved the offense taken. The favorite part of your day is imagining that I won't be here. Yeah. Like, really subverting the meaning of that beautiful moment. But what a great thread to pull on. What I was really impressed with was their ability to evoke the soundtrack, the score of Good Will Hunting without actually infringing upon it. Like, just some subtle chimes, like, oh yeah, like sort of magical. It was also really like, so again, love, as a Bostonian, love the reference. One of my all-time favorite films. You can never go wrong aping Good Will Hunting. But I actually loved what this meant for Troy, and I loved this commentary on like our society and how far we've swung in the direction of prioritizing continuing education. Right? It's like, I want to always be a student. I want to like have a job where I'm perceived to not work very hard, right? Like versus the stability, the satisfaction of having a skill in a trade that people will always need. Like what this man says to Troy is so poignant and spot on about like a sensible choice he could make for himself in life. But he came up at a certain time in a middle class America. I was like, no, I'm going to college to get some sort of a desk job. I don't know. I won't even entertain the idea of being a plumber. That was such a clever way of making really poignant commentary while keeping it so silly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and such a very college thing too. We don't talk enough about how, we're sort of like generally trained throughout middle school and high school. Then we get to college, and like at some point, someone looks you in the eye and is like, "What do you want your major to be? What do you want to be? What do you want to get good at forever until you die? What is your trade? Pick it. Pick it right now. Put it here. Write it down on this piece of paper. Bubble in this bubble." Like, we don't talk enough about the finality of that and being careful what you get good at.
Be careful what you get good at. I'm not going to forget that.
Because it's true, he could be a master plumber, and we'll see a little bit his plumbing superpowers we're not quite done with.
I mean, I will say that emotional beat stood out to me so much that it made it into my cheat sheet, really, because that storyline continues later with Abed acknowledging, like, we probably should not live together. That stands a chance to ruin what we have right now. Who knows if they'll stay in that place forever or not, but right now it feels like a very unselfish choice.
I really loved the writing in that moment because as we were living it out with them, when they're finally talking about it, it's Troy and Abed, and Troy and Abed's laying it out. Like, here's why I don't think we should live together. I wondered, I was like, are we seeing the moment finally where this like pop culture, this TV and film filter, this prism through which he sees life is going to hold him back from an experience, right? Like, is he unwilling to try this thing because he's so certain, based on his understanding of television tropes, how this is going to go?
That's interesting.
I was like, oh man, is that what we're... And then he's been using the jump the shark metaphor, and Troy
yes,
shows us nope, Abed's seeing it right, because Troy shows how clearly unclear he's seeing things. I'll tell you what, Happy Days had an episode where a guy jumped a shark, and it was the best one. I was like, oh, okay, good. No, Abed is seeing it clearly, and that little retort from Troy helped me understand that, which was, again, just great writing.
Thankfully, he has a 60-inch diameter cookie that will help reinforce the lesson later on.
Yeah, I love showing these are two people learning the same lesson in very different ways, and I love Troy's whole run with the cookie, and the way Jeff kind of dismisses him too. Like, Troy's figuring it out, and Jeff's just like, "Look, man, I got my own thing going on. Can you figure this out over there?" Is very funny to me. I also want to give a shout out to Shirley in this run of episodes.
Yeah.
She really came into her own as a character, and kind of like a badass. Like, she starts to. We saw in the first batch her starting to realize what she's capable of. She's more than just a mom. She's divorced. She doesn't quite know what her life is going to look like, and now she's just sort of leaning into her power in a lot of ways. And I think that was especially evident in the terrific buddy cop episode where her and Annie are like jockeying for who's the badass cop and who's the good guy.
Yeah.
And I just loved every time her read when Annie is like, "Stay out of my way," and Shirley just like with perfect posture walks up, "Stay out of mine more." And then she has her outburst of like, oh, you have a couple kids, they paint you into a corner, and then you're done. Like, I'm not ready to be done. I've still got moves. I was like, that resonates. Like, hell yeah, Shirley. Like, I'm not a parent, but I do imagine there's got to be a few moments where you're just like, hey man, I've still got moves. Like, I'm still navigating this world. I can take the kid to drop off daycare or whatever actual parents do, and then I can like have some edge and still be a menace in this world.
Yeah. I really liked that this batch of episodes found a way to challenge whether or not Shirley is the second most discriminatory person in the group after Pierce. That was really interesting for her to have to wrestle with, for Annie to call it out directly. But previously because it's definitely, I can appreciate within the world how they're experiencing as fellow characters. As a viewer, I'm continually pretty impressed how they're able to let Shirley be that character without ever making Shirley unlikable.
Yeah.
Without ever crossing a line, it makes it like, oh, like Pierce says some things. Like, I can't believe how much my notes progress. I can see an early note from this batch where I'm just like, Pierce is making some tasteless jokes about Abed. And like my notes get worse from there. That's never how you feel about Shirley. Like I wrote down as one of my favorite quotes, they're getting ready to go chase down whoever it is that loves Abed.
Yeah.
It's just, unless it's a boy, then we have to find him for Jesus. But either way, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
And like that's not good.
Yeah.
It's really not good. And like in today's current climate where like Christian nationalism is and the threat to other people's freedoms in the face of Christian oppression, it's like very real. It's amazing to me that I can watch this and still laugh because the writing is so on point. The delivery is so on point. The character is so fully realized that it's far from all we know about her. Right?
And to your point on Pierce, like, I just wish he could get out of his own way because when they let the script do the work, he does have some great moments, whether it's, I'm going to just like gloss over the horrific thing he does to Shirley. But like when they do finally have their moment in the library where like they acknowledge what it's like feeling like they're on the outskirts of the group, never quite fully accepted in, or, in terms of emotional moments when we have Family Day, it's similar to, the sex education episode in the first batch of episodes where we realize that Pierce knows like, the date's over. Yeah, I'm kind of a jackass. Yeah, I kind of screwed it up. Yeah, I know my stepdaughter doesn't give a shit about me. I know she's in it for the money, but I am so desperate and thirsty for connection. And that is something I never put enough of a value on. Those moments for Pierce work for me, like when we cut through the bullshit. And sadly, the correct balance is not there. And the growth isn't really there, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. I only have one positive note about Pierce, and actually it is about Chevy as a performer. I think this is a performance choice rather than a script choice or a direction choice. It's when they're shitting on Britta for saying bagel. Unbelievable, first of all.
Yeah.
Jeff zings her and everybody loses it. And Pierce like skips away delighted. Like it's like a moment where they're leaving the study room. Like wonderful, really delightful moment. I had to write it down. I was like, Pierce, you cutie.
His hands are up. He's like dancing. I love that.
I can't believe like what a good zing it was and how much everybody enjoyed it. Yeah, it's like it's in his body, and you have to believe that's the performer. And I wish there was more of that lightness.
Yeah, or like he can't get a laugh at movie night until he trips and knocks everything in the room over. But he'll live with that. Like, thank you, I got the laugh. That's all I needed. I don't care how I got the validation.
Biggest laugh of the night.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a nightmare during like Shirley's big moment when she's the captain of the sailing vessel, like chosen early on, and he like can't live with it. So I don't think we ever even talk about him intentionally sabotaging her after that. But that was my perception of what was happening. So like he was sabotaging her captainship. Which made it all the more powerful when she chose to rescue him. So I'll be watching these two. I'll be curious how they continue to leverage these two together for important growth one way or the other.
Yeah, I think just hearing you say it, part of what I think might make it more palatable, Shirley's version of, offensive thing. Ignorance. Yes. And it is, it's, there's something about the performance of Yvette Nicole Brown where her ignorance feels like, okay, if they really pull her aside and explain it to her, Shirley's going to learn and grow.
Yeah.
Whereas Pierce's always comes from a place of, I'm an older, wealthy man. Like, I'll tell you a thing or two. Whereas Shirley, like, there was even a time where I forget what she says. But they're like, oh, when they call us like you people behind your back, and Shirley just goes, "Is that bad?" Like she wants, like, she doesn't want to do anything bad, but her version of good often leans very Christian, which can lean very problematic.
Yes.
Perfect,
Whereas Pierce is just trying to tell these youngsters a thing or two.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting kind of deep into the character dynamics, so I think we're almost ready to move on to our next segment. But I don't know about you guys, but I have like 2 or 3 little things I would love to shout out quickly. Do you guys have any rapid fire stuff you want to sneak in before the next segment?
Oh yeah, let me sneak into my notes here.
Definitely. Tee us off, Randy. We'll go rapid fire.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, just a couple of different just references that made me really happy. One of them is Troy shouting out Calvin and Hobbes. You should be like Calvin. His best friend was a tiger, and if anything got in his way, he just peed on it.
So good.
Which, as we all know, is not from the comic strips itself, but the popular cultural imagery. But I'm always here for a Calvin and Hobbes reference. Also, at that keg party at the end, we get like this one brief, perfect childish Gambino moment from Donald Glover. He's got a cowboy hat on, and he's just kind of grooving through the hallway in a very "This Is America" type pattern. So I really appreciated that. And then finally, just I partly wish this were a 5-hour podcast because I've got like 4 pages of just like favorite bits. But my favorite one I haven't mentioned yet is just when Annie confesses to selling out Senor Chang, and Jeff is so angry. He's like, "She's going to do the Disney face. Do not look at her. Don't you dare feel badly for her. Her eyes will flutter, but they will never close." It's an iconic moment, as are many moments on Community. That's my rapid fire.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Tyler, you got some stuff you want to run through?
I do. I've got, first of all, the very subtle, it's like, it's such a blink and you'll miss it joke, but when Abed is talking about his cousin coming, and Annie kind of pitches like, "Oh, does she just look like you in a wig?" And he goes, "No, that's Halle Berry." that's so, because he says it and then moves on to it with his sentence. I think that's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it later in that episode too, when Abed notes that most mental illnesses manifest themselves in college, and Troy just sort of like looks off into space for a second and goes, "I hope I get multiple personalities. I get lonely in long showers." That's a really great joke. It's another one. I think I'm just noticing, like, I think we'll get there, but I think Troy really, really had some great lines this batch, because I also love when they sit him down to talk to him about Annie's crush on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Jeff starts with like, "Clear your head, done." Like he's just so quickly, "Clear your head, done." Like, that's so good. The line about Vaughn, "He never wears a shirt. He never wears shoes. How has he not died due to lack of service?"
Yes.
And then finally, this one isn't a joke. It's just something I think about. I think this is just an example of some like really great writing from the show and like lines from Jeff. It's when he tells Slater that he was scared of the commitment that she wanted from him, and like using the girlfriend word and all of that. And she's like, "Oh, like how original." And he says, quote, "Truth is ketchup. It's Jim Belushi. Its job is not to blow our minds. It's to be within reach." I think about that a lot. Because that's, the biggest truths aren't original. You just kind of, if something feels like a shitty explanation, it's probably an honest one.
Yeah.
So well written.
How about you, Kris? Hit us with your rapid fire best lines.
Okay. Absolutely loved when we get Abed drinking for the first time. And it breaks him. He can't.
Yeah.
I forget what Jeff says, but Jeff says, "Balance restored, I guess." Abed says, "Movie reference." And then he realizes, like, "Oh, you broke me.
You broke me.
You broke me." Absolutely brilliant. Chet Hunter. Any Boy Meets World fans in the house?
Yeah.
Yes. Coming in as the pool shark, willing to get naked with Jeff. So shout out to Blake Clark, one of my favorite performers, but a favorite character actor to see pop up in anything. I literally pointed Chet Hunter at the screen, so that was exciting.
And he was great in this role. The way he's in Jeff's
Yes.
face, the way he's screaming at him. And my favorite part too is Jeff's doing the like Werewolves of London dance with
Yes.
the pool cue between his legs. And then you just see later in the montage that he's trying it too and no one's into it. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
I just love that he goes into that like so confidently and shamelessly. Like, you're going to be nude, you know, next to a man at the peak of his physical condition in life.
Yeah.
And you're just going to own it. You're going to rule. But yeah, love Blake Clark, love Chet Hunter. And he even filled in admirably as Slinky Dog when we lost the great Jim Varney over in the Toy Story series.
Well said.
And special mention of his read on balls like a man.
So good.
The Greek image of nude athletes playing
billiards naked. Yeah. So silly. Maybe this is another moment of heart. This is certainly a moment of heart. Abed says, when you really know who you are and what you like about yourself, changing for the people isn't such a big deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeff is just like, Abed, you are a god.
Yeah.
And he means it. Like, he's so blown away by how this guy sees the world. Holy shit. I felt the same way. Abed, you're a god. Jeff calls Britta Dick Arnold. And Troy yells, oh, colonial burn.
Yeah.
Unbelievable Troy line. Unbelievable Troy line. This is again delightful and horrifying because Abed pantsing Troy and then Troy pantsing Abed. Delightful. So sweet, so cute. Just what you want from those guys.
Abed prepared with the heart underwear that he was referencing. Like, brilliant.
Yes. Pierce pantsing Shirley. Genuinely, actually, jaw-droppingly horrific.
Yeah.
Terrible thing to do. Yeah, hated when Pierce called Abed Rain Man and then big boobs, medium boobs, and black boobs. Horrifying.
Yep.
In the goodbye in the finale, and Annie saying bye to everybody before she leaves, we witness a secret handshake we didn't know she shared with Abed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if maybe I missed it earlier, if that was established, but for me, I was like, oh, perfect. Of course Abed has a secret handshake, probably with everybody in the group that they don't share with anybody else. And nobody else knows that he has it with other people either. They think they have a handshake with Abed, but he connects with everybody on such a deep level. So again, just one of those things that they insert in without giving too much, like giving it any air at all. You either notice it or you don't, but what a perfect character moment.
Yeah.
Very embarrassing for Britta. I'm glad that we didn't live out her embarrassment of ultimately losing the Queen contest after she assumed she had won and took the mic. Like, it got further embarrassing and awkward for other reasons, but I'm grateful it wasn't total egg on her face in that moment for her sake. Like, you guys had prepared me for how much of a punchline she continues to become, and I'm glad this wasn't all the way that moment.
I love the Dean's line there too. It's pretty like snarky, where he's just like, "Okay, well, you haven't. I was just reading the names alphabetically, so bad time to get." What does he say? Bad time to get
cocky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bad time to get cocky. Somebody screamed, "Bring Conan back."
Yes.
That was
2009, man.
Chef's kiss, baby. It put me right in that moment. I knew exactly why we were yelling it. So grateful that this is, like, if I knew nothing else about this group of comedians, knowing that they are supportive of and supported by Conan O'Brien would be enough to love them.
100%. Well said. God, I love Conan O'Brien.
Amen.
Amen. Did you see what was it? Never mind. Ignore me. It was an award show. Oh, the Mark Twain Award. Did you guys see that this year?
Yes. He's brilliant. He's well-read. He's a scholar. He's classic comedy. He's classy. He's the best.
He's from Boston.
Speaking of brilliant, I just want to shout out something for those who know. The final episode of this season, we have this reference to Pascal's triangle. This stack of numbers and all of the binomial coefficients. I'm not going to get into that because I would get lost very quickly trying to explain its significance. But what I do want to say is, if you look at that image of Pascal's triangle, you see all these numbers branching out from the number 1. And we get this discussion between Jeff and Annie at the end of the season. Like, I wish there were 2 versions of myself, one to go off with Vaughn, one to stay here. one to go with the professor, one to go elsewhere. Even jokingly earlier in the season, Abed says, it's a different version of me. I think this one's a vampire. We are introducing some DNA into the show, which will come forward in other ways in the future that I thought was really important, and that struck me.
I didn't know. I didn't pick up on that reference in all these times I've watched the show.
So
I will be paying attention.
Yes.
Who's to say?
I will be paying attention. Last thing on my hot list, I can't believe we didn't talk at all about Modern Warfare except for a vague reference to paintballs and
You're right.
chemistry. Can we just acknowledge that's one of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen?
It's so good. It's so good that it's such a quality action movie. The scene where Jeff wakes up in his car and the campus is like barren,
Desolate.
but also like you can see something's gone down. Like he's walking through the halls and they're different. Leonard starts chasing him. It's so good. And then like the campus goes nuts to a cartoonish degree, but also priority registration is pretty fantastic. Like there are some very good friends of mine who I would shoot right in the eye with a paintball gun to not have an 8 a.m. class.
So many great tropes, like the dean becoming like the evil guy behind it all, who's detached from the brutality and is letting it happen.
There is no priority registration.
The Warriors reference.
Yup.
Amazing. The a cappella group signaling with their harmonies. It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
Remember another thing that sort of like put in terms of dating this to 2009 in a beautiful way is the amount of times that like they really take that the show Glee takes a hit.
Yeah.
What network was Glee on?
Fox.
It was on Fox. Okay, because they're swinging openly at Glee.
Yeah.
More than once. Can't believe the extent to which the show is giving Jeff such shine as an action hero. Like, not just as an action hero, but as like a potential action hero, really, right? We get him like, oh, look how buff he actually is in the pool episode. And then like you get that sweet slow motion dive as the explosion goes off, the pan explosion inside the study room. And he's diving straight at the camera. And he looks incredible. He won't enjoy that in his career. Spoilers for anybody at home who knows where this career goes. So I love that he got to play that out here. Like Hollywood, it's a tough thing, right? Like not everybody gets their chance to try something interesting or different. The fact that John Krasinski ever got to do anything as interesting as The Quiet Place is pretty remarkable sometimes in Hollywood. So yeah, I'm glad he got to live out his action hero leading man fantasies here on Community.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And he does such a great job. And I remember too, just a shout out to that for that episode too, of just how jarring it is when Troy gets killed. It's funny. Killed. I'm sorry. He eliminated in a paintball competition.
Yes.
But let me soften that blow for those just listening. But I love when he's like, I am not an ambassador. I'm a gladiator. And then he just gets sniped from a distance and Troy's gone the rest of the episode. And it was such like a fun stakes raising measure. And then you lose Pierce and Annie in that moment too. And then how sad it is when like Abed's skinny legs get killed by the disco like people. It's like they really do a good job of like making this feel like an action movie where we lose some beloved characters.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And it opens the door to one of my favorite Community trends, which are just like the brands of episodes that like just leave reality almost entirely behind. I love it. I love it when Community goes there. And they prove they can do it with this episode.
Wonderful. All right, I think we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Modern Warfare, truly a terrific episode of television. I remember the way that it just like took over the world briefly back in 2009 when the show came out. It was like, whether you were on board with Community or not, you could sit anyone down and be like, watch this episode.
Yeah. You feel like they shouldn't be allowed to do it, right? It feels like there were more rules at the time. We're watching this on like traditional network television on the night that it airs. Maybe you've got some on demand at home, but like, you're supposed to know exactly what to expect from your weekly sitcom. And to walk into the Modern Warfare episode must have felt like, can they do this? This is awesome. Are they allowed to do this?
And
cut to me too, like about 10 weeks earlier, watching the Jack Black episode, being like, can they do this? And then they're like, and then it's like, yeah, they can do this and way more.
They can do almost anything. They can do Goodfellas, and they can make it look and feel just like Goodfellas. I couldn't believe how stylishly the camera moved throughout those. Such energy as we're moving through the school world and hearing from Abed the complexities of the operation. They can do anything, apparently.
Speaking of emotional beats that, we should mention too, is the end of that episode where Jeff and Abed are having that moment. Jeff's there to like continue to engage in some more like movie style hijinks of like sabotaging the fryer and all of that.
Yeah.
And he finds Abed in a vulnerable moment, and they really have a genuine conversation. I also really appreciated in that moment where Abed sort of suggests therapy to Jeff, and he kind of goes, yeah, I should maybe think about doing that. Like, no, like, oh, I don't know, just full on, like, yeah, maybe I should get into therapy.
Yeah.
Beautiful moment. And again, great acting from both Danny Pudi and Joel McHale, who are there to bring the yucks, and then all of a sudden you're watching this very heartfelt moment from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you weren't convinced that Jeff needs therapy in that moment, just go back to the Poddery episode and get all the evidence you may need.
That's it right there.
So guys, I'm sensing this is just an informal Greendale study group after all. I kind of feel like this is the moment where we have to take a second and just put it out on the table, confirm which episodes did we think were streets ahead. I'm going to confess, we were just talking about 2 episodes on my list. So why not just induct these into the Hall of Fame right now? These could be episodes we already discussed. You may have another candidate you were saving. But Kris, I'm going to go to you because you opened this up to a discussion of modern warfare. I'm curious if that's your episode, or if you've got something else that you want to celebrate here.
I think for me, it absolutely is contemporary American poultry. I thought when I watched Modern Warfare that would be my answer, hands down. How could they top that? But I was shocked by how much I was enjoying that episode and Abed's voiceover, and how very much it didn't feel like a pastiche. It didn't feel like a parody. It just felt like I don't know, if you like Westerns, it's a different thing in the same genre, right? So if you like mob movies, different thing in the same genre, as opposed to intentionally aping anything. It felt original, despite how familiar it was. Abed as Ray Liotta, perfect. Absolutely perfect. When he lists out why, is it Shirley and Britta who are trustworthy enough to bag the chicken?
Yes.
All of it is so well thought out. All of it sounds exactly like the mafia movie that you're used to watching. They translated this chicken enterprise into the language of criminal enterprise so authentically, so effortlessly, it seemed. I couldn't believe how impressive everybody involved. I think that's what I keep coming back to, is that this show is impressive at every level of the production. From initial concept to that writer's room, execution on the day of. It's wonderful. It's got to be American Poultry.
All right. Well, I think that's a great pick. You took that one off the table. I suddenly feel streets behind. But Tyler, which episode was streets ahead for you?
I would have picked Contemporary American Poultry as well, for all the reasons Kris listed and more. It's just, it's also very indicative of Community in that they're just, not only are we going to be doing these genre episodes, are we going to be doing these weird forays, these, I hesitate to say parodies, but what have you, these homages. We're going to do them. We're also going to do them expertly, and they're going to move our characters forward. It's not just going to be like we're going to take a break from the action and get a little wild with it. But I'm trying to think, wait, which episode is the Art of Discourse the one where Troy and Abed are checking off his list of like college tropes that he wants to do.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
That episode holds a special place in my heart because I remember I remember my roommate in college. Shout out to Adam Whipple. I was watching the show, like rewatching. This was when I finally moved up to the real university, to the campus. The moment where Abed is pushing the robot and Troy is getting nervous because they're about to go do something very nerdy, very geeky in front of real, like, attractive women. And Abed's like, hey, being a best friend means sticking by each other no matter what. And Troy's like, okay, we can do this. And Abed pulls out his thing and is like, okay, ridiculous situation, deteriorating into heavy-handed drama for the illusion of story. Check. And, like, the look on Troy's face when he just goes, what? Awesome. That was awesome. I'm back in. I've never seen, to this day, I've never seen my roommate laugh harder than that. And he was like, what is this show? And, like, we have to watch all of it together. And I was like, fine, let's run it back. I restarted him on the pilot and we watched Community together in our dorm room. But it's also just, it's another one, a little like, it's like the slightly watered down version of American Poultry, where it's, you're seeing that they have a real grasp on these tropes and they're not mocking them. They're not, dumbing them down. They're not ripping them off. They're paying an incredible homage to them in a way that's so funny and drives the plot forward.
That is what I was trying to say. Very well said.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Randy, how about you? What's your episode?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be boring. Like, my first favorite episode of Community, my first time through, was contemporary American Poultry. I don't think I have anything new to add because I think you broke it down. It was just so exciting to me. It was like the first trick they played that really showed me how great the show could be. And then, like, we very quickly upped the ante with something like Modern Warfare, which opens up a whole new avenue of fun. Those were both on my list. I'm going to go with my third place candidate. It's physical education. We did talk about that a little bit tonight.
Great choice.
In terms of, like, the overall, like, structure of the episode thematically, it's weaker than some of these other ones. You know, like I don't think Abed's story and Jeff's story are connected thematically as strongly as the episode wants you to believe that they are. But it's just kind of like the bang for your buck in this episode. Like, I knew I was excited for this episode. This billiards class is absurd. We've already sung the praises of Blake Clark just selling that phys ed teacher that's like, no, you've got to use the regulation equipment. We're not going to fuck around. I'm not going to let this guy come in his cool clothes and just show off. Like, we are going to really play some billiards. And the fact that they go so far with it, and I'm someone who doesn't tend to enjoy, like, a lot of, like, that gross out sort of humor, but, like, when Jeff, like, raises the extra leg up onto the table to stretch and everyone's looking and our girl Annie's there. And the dean's just in his own little world during this entire sequence. It's incredible. But to go back and I was like, oh, wow, this is also the episode with my Don Draper moment. Mm-hmm. This is also the moment where Abed has a different version of himself that's a vampire. This is also the moment where Jeff realizes that Abed is a god. And I was like, maybe this is my favorite episode. And then with this watch through, I remembered, and it's the Boggle episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So just kind of like on sheer, like, quantity, like, rate of success, I'm going to go with physical education.
Great choice. Thank God Jeff didn't have anything Dalmatian print on. The dean may not have gotten through.
Also, a, like, community, like, a billiards class is very community college.
Yes. I absolutely love the melodrama in the end when Jeff chooses shorts.
Yes. I choose shorts.
I also love, upon rewatch too, I forget every time how much that the coach is obsessed with Jeff Winger. Like, Jeff leaves the class and, like, any normal person would be like, well, that guy's got problems. And then the coach is, like, pulling pranks on him via the intercom. He's just talking. He's like, good shot. I'd like to see Jeff Winger do that. Like, keep his name out of your mouth, man. Move on. But I think it's so funny that he's obsessed with Jeff.
I think so too, because I expected that we were going to get some sort of reveal about, like, a past, like somebody else like a Jeff that he dealt with, or maybe he himself was like a Jeff, and he doesn't like seeing that, and so no comment, no explanation, no justification. Just, it is what it is. He's a weird guy.
It's for the love of the game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's another great example of like Greendale is a place where a lot is happening. There is a movie around every corner, and you're just going to have to make your peace with the fact that we're following these guys. Owen Wilson is here somewhere in the cooler room
now.
we just aren't seeing it.
Go get changed, and I'll see you out on the felt in 5.
Great stuff.
So good. God, I love this show. I'm so happy to be doing this.
Is it time to talk individual performers?
I think it might be.
So this is where I guess I don't. Tyler, can you help me intro this? I still don't get the reference.
Oh, right. Yeah. You don't know what who popped means.
No.
Well, I'm going to keep it vague because I want it to sort of wash over you. It's possible we're overhyping it. I don't care. But Randy, we'll start with you because you went last on the episode thing. But
sure.
For you, individual performances out of this batch of 12, the latter half of season 1, who popped? And feel free to add in any honorable mentions.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think I've kind of covered my honorable mentions. I love everyone so much here. But when I look at the arc as a whole, I'm going to give it to Britta, despite the fact that she ends up in this broken moment. I honored Jeff last time because I'm trying to keep my sights on season 1 with a bigger arc that I think maybe matters the most in season 1. In the first batch of episodes, he changes Britta's name in his cell phone. This time around, we're back to the cell phone. It's Britta using that drunk dial to actually support him in that moment. She is grappling with things like jealousy and frustration and these honest, human feelings that, if you have a thing with someone and they move on, even if you didn't want it, you might feel a little pang of jealousy or connection there. She's trying to handle that gracefully, trying to be the right person. Can I handle Annie being with Vaughn? We are in this somewhat competitive relationship, but we're really meant to be friends. And she's trying so hard to balance that the whole time. And to see her own that a little bit at the end, even if it, does result in not her best moment. I love every time she gets at Jeff. She shows him that he can be a good person, and she's still doing that here, and I love it. And also just like an honorable mention to her wanting to play the cutest prank of all time. I just want to put a sombrero on this frog. It's so cute.
Oh, you're done.
And she ends up dropping a body out of a window.
And murdering the frog.
It's she really Britted that situation,
She did.
I may. And I love when Britta is Britta-ing situations. I love that she makes no effort to really fix her pronunciation of bagel. I can't even pronounce her mispronunciation.
Is that a real thing? Like, are there parts of the country where they pronounce it bagel, or is she just Britta?
She's just Britta.
Okay.
She's just Britta. She says bagel, and I think she can't hear it. But yeah, Britta, I'm going to give it to Britta, despite so many amazing performances here. Tyler, how about for you?
Britta's a great choice because I do think, as we mentioned, Britta, they kind of don't know what to do with Britta later on. And I think right now we're kind of at our peak of like good Britta, especially in the Modern Warfare episode where her whole thing of having Jeff's number really plays out and in a way reaches its conclusion.
Yeah, and a whole new level of confidence in that moment too, which is great to see. Yeah.
I want to give an honorable mention to Troy, and I'll give him a light dusting just in case that's Kris, your choice. But I think he just had some great lines this episode. I think he started working with the writers a little bit because he comes from a writing background. For this like latter half of the episode, they were able to just sort of like take a break, reset, figure out what was working and what wasn't. I think they really found Troy's voice. He's like the lovable fool. And as the show progresses, they do a great job of like having him grow up and not just be a fool, not just be this like dense character. But right now, like that's what he is and it's working. And I just think he's got some great lines this time around. But obviously, I think for this batch, I got to go with Abed just because he had those 2 episodes that are just like they're good, and they don't, like I said at the top, they don't make us worry about Abed that much, particularly the billiards episode where you find out like he's fine with women, he's fine with his own sense of self-confidence, he's fine with changing himself within reason. I think that's really good, and I think the way he delivers it is really great. I think Danny Pudi's doing a great job. And then you get Contemporary American Poultry, where not only is he delivering some great jokes, he's becoming the villain a little bit too. Like when he's the one feeding Dreadlocks guy like chicken tenders, and he's like giving Shirley the side eye. That's so fucking funny. And then you've got his emotional like scene in the kitchen with Jeff. Like Danny Pudi is killing it. Abed is really killing it. And I think for this batch, this was one of the things, especially too at this time, if you asked people about Community, real fans, he was getting compared to like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory a lot, but in like a very like that kind of way of like, here's what like a nerd looks like, or a nerd character. Like they've got heart. They're a human being. They're not a caricature. And then you compare him to Sheldon. So it was like an academic comparison, not a like, aren't they similar?
Yes.
But I just think at the time, like Abed is what captured this show. I think Jeff Winger was the face, but when you get in there, Abed immediately became the heart.
I would like to rescind my boo. I think making that comparison to draw that conclusion makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I look, not trying to yuck anyone's yum when it comes to Big Bang Theory, but yeah.
Yeah, contrasting the two, I think is proper for sure. He's like in a lot of ways he reminds me of Uncle Iroh. For any Avatar heads out there, Avatar: The Last Airbender, he's almost complete, right? The guy I expect will still watch him grow through some things, but when Jeff looks at him and says, "Abed, you're a god," like he's not far off. Like Abed at a high level really has this life thing figured out and sees it. Sees himself, sees other people in a way that's so clear and so peaceful. That's what is so remarkable about him. I think that like it seems to me that his grip on things brings him a tremendous amount of peace. Like he doesn't live his life with any doubts or insecurity, is how he appears. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love the phrasing of almost complete. I love that.
We're all working towards completion someday. Do you know
someday
that
we'll get there?
In Hebrew, the number 7 spelled, it's the same letters as complete. The number 7, because they have like numerology, is equivalent to the idea of completion, which is also equivalent to their idea of perfection.
Really? I didn't know that.
So as a person grows and evolves and changes, like we're all moving towards completion to some extent in a spiritual sense.
That's lovely. I love that.
It's not Abed for me though. If I'm not careful, it will be Abed for me every single batch of episodes, because again, he is so fully realized, so complete.
And you'd never be wrong, really.
And if he keeps having standout individual episodes too, even while not having much to grow through, I'll be thrilled. But I really want to celebrate Annie. Tyler, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, how strong this batch of episodes was for Shirley, and I feel similarly for Annie. When we first meet her, she's extremely naive at the beginning of this season, and she has not only grown in her wisdom and her experience of life through this first year at community college, but she's grown in her confidence as a result.
Yeah.
Watching her stand there at the end of the finale and explain herself to Jeff, clearly state how she's feeling, help him in a significant, mature way. I think she leans in for that kiss because she is mature and is making the mature in the moment decision to go for that kiss. It isn't a young person who's overwhelmed and in over their head as it could have been, would have been earlier in the season. Right? They kiss at the debate, and then very quickly later, it's like, that's never happening again, right? Like she not ready for anything like that. And to see her now, it's not just about romance, but in general, understanding herself as this former star student who now finds herself here in life. I love that she like proudly boasts her pill addiction when she's trying to prove what a badass she is. Did you have a complete breakdown? Get addicted to pills? That's pretty hardcore. The performance is incredibly nuanced.
Yeah.
You know, it's a character who could have remained just a shtick, similar to Troy, right? I guess everybody here outside of Jeff and Britta could have remained very two-dimensional, very shticky, playing their beats of the given sitcom rhythm. But no, she has absolutely grown into a confident, a well-rounded character who I'm really excited to watch grow further. I don't know what will happen after that kiss. I don't imagine it's going to be any kind of Jeff and Annie relationship, but I'm really curious to see how she kind of handles the fallout of that kiss, the Britta of it all and the rest of the study group. And yeah, I'll see where we pick up next season, but I was really impressed with where she ended the season compared to where she started it.
Yeah.
Definitely. And she's in the finale, like, or is the penultimate episode of the finale where she's at odds with the group because she is so worried about keeping it together. She has her moment of, like, there's something special for me in this dynamic. Like, we've seen episodes where Jeff needs the group, where Abed needs the group, Troy needs it. And this was like our episode of Annie needing the group, and it was pretty hardcore. She almost tanked their entire, like, future.
Yeah. But they all break into perfect Spanish when the stakes are to save Annie from Chang.
Rapido. Come to find him sampling her blood-curdling screams on the keytar.
Yes.
Yeah. They're prepared to save her life. They think she's being murdered. Because Chang is such a villain. When he fists those quarters and socks John Oliver at the end, oh my God.
What is this? Well, that's a roll of quarters. And just nails
No
it.
hesitation.
Loved that.
Yeah, Chang the student. How do you feel about that, Kris?
I'm excited that he has room to be even more villainous at this point.
Oh, also another fun, subtle joke, too, from Chang, just because he didn't get a lot of love, was the kick puncher episode when it's like, so you're hanging out with your students, and he's in like a full tuxedo and in a beanbag chair and goes, yes, clearly no other plans fell through tonight. Great joke.
Yeah.
No explanation needed.
Right. Really great.
Beautiful.
Well, that was wonderful, guys. I think we did it. We've hit all the beats. We've talked about our favorite episodes, our favorite performers. Thank you again for asking me to watch this show with you. 25 episodes later, I have started a journey that I don't want to finish. I want to stay on. I hope this journey lasts a long time. So I'm excited to be on this road with you both.
Likewise.
And to the podlings at home, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this revisit into the back half of season 1 of Community. We'll be back again next month with more. But in the meantime, give us a follow where you can find us. Randy, you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, listen, we want you in our study group. You don't have to submit your tape for review. You don't have to meet our requirements. We just want your input and your feedback. You can reach out to us on any form of social media. We'd love for you to drop us an email with some of your favorite episodes and moments. There's so many great gags we didn't get a chance to cover from all of season 1 already. And you can reach out at media.slash.lit@gmail.com. We would also absolutely love it if you would hit us with a like and a review. You can comment on the good and the bad of our performance, or you can simply comment with your favorite community moment or something you'd love for us to find an excuse to circle back to before the end of this journey. So we hope that you will find us.
Yeah, maybe we'll add a segment, Gags We Missed.
Ooh, love that. Randy, you're so kind to tell the folks where they can find Media Lit, but you're not just doing Media Lit. Where else can folks find you and your work in the world?
Yeah, you're going to find my other content on thepopbreak.com, both my written work, largely covering television, as well as some of my other podcast work. We just wrapped up my year-long podcast, Pod of Doom, a deep dive into the music of Black Sabbath with Justin and Kris Mancini. And we will be very soon launching a brand new music podcast, this time with Chris Ingersoll on board.
I know him.
Yeah. And we're going to dig into the music of my favorite musician of all time, Beck Hansen, in a little podcast called Poddery. And we hope you will join us.
Yes, we do.
Kris, Tyler, do either of you guys have anything going on over at thepopbreak.com?
Kris, after you.
Oh, dear. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, aside from this here Media Lit, I'm also the co-host of the Batman by the Numbers podcast. We're a once-a-month podcast, deep diving on the Dark Knight in every possible way that we can. This year, though, we've been doing a ton of Superman celebrations. It's been our world's finest era. We just dropped in the month of October a cinematic villains ranking, and in the month of November, you're going to find a ranking of every single member of the Superman family. It's not who you might think. It's a pretty obscure list of characters. Shout out to Streaky the Cat. Listen in to Batman by the Numbers to hear more once a month on thepopbreak.com.
And Tyler, where can we find you on thepopbreak.com?
Yeah, absolutely. Similarly, if you go to the Pop Break podcast feed, not only will you find a bunch of great shows there, including, I believe that's where Batman by the Numbers lives, you will find Not Couple Goals. That's the podcast I do with my wife, Allie Nelson. Our tagline is we review the best and, let's face it, the worst in romantic thriller cinema. If two people have a weird attraction, if something's a little sexy, if something's a little scary, we like to cover it. For example, the episode we've got coming out this month is our belated Halloween celebration, and we decided to tackle The Mummy, ... 2017.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know what? If you needed a reason to watch this episode on YouTube, the smile to frown that just made Kris do is well worth your time.
Yeah.
Yes, we like to talk about the So Bad They're Good movies. We like to talk about sexy movies, fun movies, and we have a really great time doing it. And we have a lot of your Pop Break favorites on sometimes. I know I keep saying this, but we're hoping to get guests back on soon, including these two lovely gentlemen. And yeah, so please go to the Pop Break feed, listen to that, and when you're done, listen to all the cool episodes that they have out there. I'm also going to do a quick shout out for my wife's social media, just because it's the end of spooky season. But if you're like me and you're not done with it, I encourage you to go to my wife's feed, as she lives at Like Willie Nelson on most social media platforms. I was fortunate enough to go to a lot of cool haunted houses this year, including Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando, Horror Unleashed in Las Vegas, a couple cool haunted houses right here in New York City. And she did video walkthroughs, non-spoilery, that were very fun. So I really encourage you guys to go check that out, because they're a good time.
Beautiful.
Super cool. I got to check that out.
Yeah, she had a lot of fun this year, and she's really good at cutting the videos together.
Dope.
And if you listen close, you can hear me scream.
Just like Annie.
A manly yelp, a warrior cry, if you will.
Oh, I am scared. Nice. Well, that'll do it, folks. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next month.
Late.